If that's the restoration of this technology, far more important is what that technology is and how it relates to your study. As you know, the basics are the foundation, the fundamentals of Dianetics and Scientology, and the platform on which all else rests. As you further know, the Congresses are LRH's public announcement of his milestone breakthroughs. Professional course lectures are those which form the basis of auditor certification on the technology of any given era. And finally, as you've previously heard, the advanced clinical course lectures are those originally delivered to trained auditors attending these special courses. However, while these lectures are utterly invaluable for auditors to fill in the blanks, the whys and wherefores behind today's processes, to say these lectures are only for auditors is entirely misleading. After all, we are heading into the year 2010, and to categorize advanced clinical course lectures as only for those who did the academy levels, briefing course, or class 8 doesn't make sense, especially inasmuch as all of those courses post-date these lectures. So the more accurate statement is that the advanced clinical course lectures were delivered to trained auditors of the time. Well, what had those auditors studied before these advanced clinical courses? The answer, as I mentioned at the outset, is that these lectures immediately follow the basics. And considering that the full body of the basics, every book and lecture, was never available until 2.5 years ago, anybody studying the basics today has a more complete grounding in the technology than those who originally attended these lectures. So a far more accurate description of ACC lectures is that they contain the only record of LRH's research and development, step by step, breakthrough by breakthrough as it occurred, data that is available nowhere else. Moreover, these lectures and issues in combination, packaged as they are, make up a tour de force presentation in terms of accessibility, instant reference, and ease of study. Why? Because you miss nothing. Consider the basics. As you've experienced, it's pretty incredible to read a book and then hear lectures on the same subject. But now consider reading an issue, hearing a lecture, reading an issue from the same day, followed by another lecture, etc. It's truly chronological, day by day, and it's all contained in one package. By way of example, this is the first American Advanced Clinical Course delivered by LRH immediately following the Philadelphia Doctorate Course and Factors lectures. The introduction, as with the introduction to every one of these lecture series, lays out precisely what tech is addressed. In this case, making space, anchor points, pervasion, and the difference between subjective auditing and objective auditing. Next, every new process developed or introduced in the ACC is listed out by name. Any group processes delivered in that ACC are also listed. And finally, the application of existing processes developed prior to the ACC is also provided. Accordingly, it is now possible to not only find the first introduction of any process, but also every further reference to, use, and application of that process or technology. Next, as I've already mentioned, every written issue from the time period of the lectures is also included. Finally, definitions of all technical terms and phrases are provided. In fact, the cumulative number of words defined in all these lecture series is no less than 29,326. So to be sure, it's a massive presentation in every respect. Well, for a summary word on the actual tech contained in all these lecture series, considering they form the only running record of LRH research and development, I could spend the entire night describing it and still only scratch the surface. Besides, there is still another surprise awaiting you which will answer that question in full. But for now, suffice it to say, here is the full recovery of all technology as given on the materials guide chart. Objective processing and exteriorization, that's the 1st to 8th ACC. LRH said in an HCOB in 1980 that without objectives, no being is likely to recover in his infinity of future. Yet the breakthrough of objectives and the objective processes is only contained here, and it's never been available. It's the same with communication. You know Dianetics 55 and the Unification Congress. Well, here is the 9th ACC and 2 pro course lectures, Cause, Distance, Effect, and Live Communication, and they too have never been available. Power of choice. It concerns the rehabilitation of the preclear's ability to make a decision. It's tech so vital that it's even part of the superpower rundown, yet the underlying technology is only contained here and likewise only available now. Games and havingness. If you've read the Fundamentals of Thought, then you've heard of remedy of havingness and games theory. Well, here again for the first time are the technical breakthroughs and application of those processes. Personnel efficiency. As I mentioned at the outset, these lectures affect every level of the bridge, and that includes how to teach new people about Scientology, otherwise known as the Personnel Efficiency course. If you haven't seen it delivered, you now know why, because the data is contained here in the 15th ACC. Control, communication, and havingness, the CCHs. These are rock-bottom objective processes to make an entrance into every case, but only now are the full whys and wherefores available in the 16th and 17th ACC. Communication and Tone 40. These are the breakthroughs underlying TRs and so make an auditor, and again, the full body of that technology and their instruction is only found in the 18th ACC. Creating a third dynamic. It's in the 19th ACC, where LRH reveals the history of whole track societies. Help. The breakthroughs announced in the Clearing Congress films and the full technology for application is in the 20th ACC. Confronting. If you've heard of the book Have You Lived Before This Life, then the 5th London ACC is what formed the case histories found in the original book. Leadership. It's all premised on the senior ability of a Thetan to bring order, and it was a breakthrough that led to the development of co-auditing, and that's the 21st American ACC. World clearing. With the breakthrough technology of co-auditing, LRH developed a plan for world clearing. It's how a single auditor can audit hundreds or even thousands simultaneously, and its application has been entirely lost for no other reason than the 6th London ACC lectures have never been available. Responsibility and overts and withholds. It's the linchpin to attaining OT. If you've heard the State of Man Congress, you know why, but the full breakthrough was made during the first Melbourne ACC, while the Hubbard Clearing Scientologist course containing the full tech for application has never been available until now. Why auditing works. Previously released as the companion to the London Congress on Dissemination and Help, this one contains the tech on auditor presence and altitude. In fact, this is the beginning of modern auditing and what LRH called the jet age of Scientology. The conduct of sessions. Today there is a standard for how a session is conducted. It's called a model session, and it's about as basic as it gets, yet the full technology was lost until now, the 22nd American ACC. And finally, goals. It was the breakthrough that resulted in the commencement of the St. Hill Special Briefing course, and it's all contained here in this 3rd South African ACC. And believe me when I tell you, that's just a fraction of it, because for every datum I've mentioned, there are at least 1,000 more I haven't, but suffice it to say, it's all been recovered, every bit of it, representing the full recovery of lost technology, and that's the Professional and Advanced Clinical Course lectures.